I didn't plan on stopping that night. I was just too tired to keep driving. The receptionist said the double bed was complimentary, but during the night, I realized it wasn't meant just for me. I didn't plan to stop that night. That's something I keep telling myself, even now. Because planning implies intent, and intent implies choice. And I don't remember choosing that place so much as giving in. The office picnic had been harmless at first, just one of those routine company things, plastic tables, paper plates, awkward jokes from people who barely spoke to each other during work hours. It was supposed to end by evening, but it dragged. Someone suggested staying longer, then dinner, then a few drinks. By the time I finally said my goodbyes, the sky was already dark and the parking lot lights had switched on, casting long shadows beneath the cars. I remember sitting behind the steering wheel before starting the engine, just staring forward. My body felt drained in a deep, uncomfortable way. Not sleepy exactly, but hollow, like the energy had been scooped out of me and never replaced. When I checked the GPS, it said I still had almost 7 hours to go. My shoulders sagged as I read it. I told myself I'd manage. I always did. I cracked the window open, turned the music down low, and pulled onto the highway. For the first hour, it wasn't bad. The road was empty enough to feel calm. The music played softly, familiar songs that didn't require attention. But gradually, the fatigue crept in. My neck stiffened. My eyes burned. I found myself blinking longer than usual, forcing them open again when I realized how heavy my eyelids had become. By the third hour, it wasn't something I could ignore anymore. My head dipped once, just a fraction of a second, but it scared me badly enough that my hands tightened around the wheel. I rolled the window down farther, letting the cold night air rush in, stinging my face. It helped for a while, but the road kept stretching endlessly ahead, and the white lines began to blur together again. That's when I saw the motel sign. It wasn't bright or welcoming, just a flickering neon word, Motel, missing one of its letters, buzzing weakly against the darkness. The exit ramp beneath it was narrow, poorly lit. I hesitated as I passed it, then checked my mirrors and slowed down. I told myself I'd just pull off to freshen up, wash my face, use the restroom, maybe sit for a few minutes until my head cleared. But as soon as I took the exit, the highway noise vanished, replaced by a silence that felt heavier than it should have. The motel sat alone at the end of a short road, surrounded by darkness and gravel. 2 cars were parked in the lot, spaced far apart. No movement, no lights inside them. I sat in my car for a moment before getting out, watching the building. I felt uneasy, but exhaustion has a way of softening caution. I told myself I was already here. I could rest for a bit, maybe even sleep for a few hours before continuing home. That felt reasonable, responsible even. Inside, the motel smelled old. Carpet cleaner mixed with something faintly sour. The air felt stale. A man sat behind the counter, looking down at something on his desk. When the bell jingled, he raised his head slowly and looked at me. I asked for a room, just for the night. When he offered to upgrade me to a double bed at no extra charge, I tried to refuse. I didn't need it. I told him I just wanted a place to rest for a bit, but he insisted, said it was complimentary, said I'd sleep better. That last part stuck with me. Eventually, too tired to argue, I agreed. The room was at the far end of a long corridor, looked normal at first glance. 2 beds pushed together, not neatly, pressed like someone had forced them close. I remember standing there longer than necessary, noticing how the mattresses didn't quite line up, how the blankets were tucked differently. It was subtle, but something about it felt off. I checked the bathroom. Everything was clean, dry. The toilet seat especially, I noticed that. It mattered later. I lay down on the bed nearest the window and fell asleep almost immediately. When I woke the first time, it was that disoriented kind of waking, the kind where you don't remember where you are for a second. I sat up slowly, rubbing my eyes, my body heavy and uncooperative. As my vision adjusted, my gaze drifted to the other bed. The blanket was pulled back slightly now. The mattress dipped in the middle. I frowned at it, still half asleep. Did I roll over? I wondered. Did I mess it up without realizing? The thought made sense in that foggy state. I dismissed it, went to the bathroom to clear my nose at the sink, then returned to bed and turned my back to the other mattress again. The second time I woke up, something felt wrong immediately. I sat up slowly, my heart already beating faster than it should have been. That's when I noticed the light under the bathroom door, a thin strip of yellow-white glow spilling onto the carpet. I stared at it, confused. Did I leave the light on? I asked myself. I'm pretty sure I turned it off, didn't I? Before I could stand, the sound came. The toilet flushed. The sound was close, clear, inside the room. I sat frozen on the bed, my thoughts racing. Maybe the plumbing's weird. Maybe it's another room. Old pipes do that. But even as I told myself that, my stomach tightened. I knew what it sounded like when someone flushed a toilet nearby. When I opened the bathroom door, the light was on. The toilet seat was wet, not soaked, just dotted with droplets, like someone had used it and walked away in a hurry. I stood there for a long moment, my heart pounding, remembering clearly how dry it had been earlier. Fear crept up my spine, but routine took over. I used the restroom quickly, turned the light off deliberately, and returned to bed, my mind racing. I lay there staring into the darkness, trying to calm myself. Then the bed creaked. The other bed, slow, controlled, like someone carefully lowering their weight onto it. I felt the slightest shift in the mattress beside me, like air being displaced. My entire body went rigid. I didn't move. I barely breathed. When I finally turned to look, the bed was empty, perfectly smooth. No sign of anyone there. I lay back down, shaken, whispering to myself that exhaustion was playing tricks on my mind. Now, this time, my eyes opened quietly. No jolt, no sound pulling me out of sleep, just awareness returning, slowly, the way it does when your body wakes before your mind does. I lay there for a moment, staring into the dimness, feeling that familiar heaviness in my limbs. I remember thinking about shifting my position, maybe rolling onto my other side, just to get comfortable again. And that's when I felt it. A sudden tickle on my right foot. Light, deliberate, not accidental. Before I could even react, it moved to my left foot, fingertips brushing the sole, slow and careful, almost playful. The sensation crawled across my skin, sending a sharp electric chill straight up my legs. It wasn't rough or aggressive. That somehow made it worse. It felt intentional, curious, like whatever was touching me was testing how I'd respond. My breath caught in my throat. For half a second, my body froze completely. as if my brain refused to accept what was happening. Then panic hit all at once. I jerked my legs back and sat upright, heart slamming against my ribs, gasping for air. The room was silent, empty, nothing at the foot of the bed, nothing between the two mattresses, nothing anywhere. But the other bed, the blanket was twisted now, bunched up like someone had been lying there for a long time. The pillow was crushed inward. The sheet was wrinkled in deep folds, disturbed in a way that no amount of tossing in my sleep could explain. My hands were shaking as I reached for my phone. The screen lit up the room in a harsh blue glow. 6:32 a.m. It was dawn. That was it. Something inside me clicked into place. Not curiosity, not confusion, just instinct. I wasn't staying another minute. I didn't need answers. I didn't want them. I wanted out. I packed fast, hands clumsy, movements rushed. I didn't use the bathroom again. I didn't look in the mirror. I didn't look at the other bed. I grabbed my things, unlocked the door, and left. The motel was eerily quiet. No receptionist, no voices, no movement anywhere. When I stepped outside, I noticed the parking lot again. The same two cars were still there, parked exactly where they had been all night. Untouched, silent. That's when the thought hit me. Where were the people? I had never seen anyone else inside that motel. Not a single guest. No footsteps in the hallway. No doors opening or closing. No sounds through the walls. Just the receptionist. And those cars. For a brief moment, I considered walking back inside, checking the rooms, looking for answers. But fear shut that idea down instantly. I didn't want to know. I wanted to leave alive, not have my car become the third one parked there. I got in, started the engine, and drove away as the sun rose behind me. It's been 6 months now, and I still wake up some nights to that same sensation. And I realized the receptionist wasn't offering me a complimentary double bed. He was offering that thing living in that room something to play with.